in solo queue.
So it could be a flex pick. We'll have to see. Could depend on the enemy draft as well. I will say, any of Mole's teammates probably now Nico specialists. I'm sure he's like downloaded the Nico mentality to everyone. And, you know, I feel like they've probably had full Nico scrims where everyone's playing Nico. Just in case flex situations. Perhaps not. Vi going to be locked in. LP going to go with the Aphelios once again, despite its, what was it, 2-7 scoreline. Certainly looked good in game number 1 today. And RNG already with a somewhat similar style where you've got the Vi, the Wukong, both like all about that teamfight disruption, being able to find someone and set up an opportunity.
I still think the right pick here for RA would be the Jinx. The question is if now they're hesitant to go away from it with how game 1 went. Looks like they will. They're just going to head towards Xayah, something that we have seen come in so far. Of course, having that ult, having that ability to peel, try to escape from LP, trying to escape from Wei, I think will give them a lot of options. Once again, RA are kind of playing a comp that more doesn't just want to slam their keyboards and run in. It does have to be a little bit more methodical and thought out. So RNG, like you said, kind of going back to the game 1 plan. A bunch of champions that do great at going in and just throwing out these huge AoE abilities like Aphelios and Annie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vi Annie is a phenomenal 2v2 combo as well. You have a lot of power there. I feel like you now have to ban the Rakan, right? I was kind of hoping that they would lock Xayah Rakan straight off of the bat there instead of the Viego. Just because the guy's called Feather, like, I feel like he's got to be a Rakan player, right? Like, I don't know that he's a Rakan player, but he's called Feather. Let's just assume that that's related in some way. But it will be banned. Lulu taken off the board as well, away from the Aphelios. Do you respect ban the Braum away from LvMao?
Honestly, like, wouldn't be the worst, but at the same time, not something that's going to put a huge ton of threat on Xayah in that bot lane 2v2, which I feel like when you're drafting Xayah, that's something you really care about, right? Being able to get to those parts of the game where you are strong. So I am kind of interested. Even like something like a Nautilus, I don't feel like you mind too much going over the enemy hands when, again, you have something like a Xayah.
There is one thing that like Braum kind of ruins Xayah in team fights because it works the same way as Windfall, where the feather stops at the unbreakable. So when you do your ult and you do all of your feathers trying to get them to pull it across the whole team, Braum can really be a thorn in the side of Xayah. And in that regard, it is a pretty specific situation.
Yeah, I mean, right, it's a trade-off. Do you want, you know, to maybe be encumbered in team fights or, you know, a bit harder laning phase? Looks like they don't want to deal with the Nautilus at the end of the day. And this is something that actually went unnoticed. I can't believe we didn't talk about this at all. K'Sante going all the way through. This, I mean, this was a staple of everyone in Spring. It was pretty much every top laner's most played champion in Spring Split. And Breathe and Xiaoxu are no different. So Breathe can get his hands on that. And it feels like RNG maybe getting an even stronger comp than they did in game 1.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like K'Sante kind of unarguably stronger than Gragas currently. The fact that I'm saying it like that maybe makes it not unarguable. I don't know why I said unarguably. Blitzcrank locked in for Feather here. I guess RA decided that they need to be able to pull the trigger.
I'll be honest, I don't really know what a better option would be. Blitz doesn't really look like it fits the comp too well. They do need some semblance of engage, but now RA are pretty much completely and totally reliant on two things. Either one, this Blitz hook, or two, just being able to find advantages in their laning phases, meaning that they can get like on Dragon first, and now you have RNG having to come into you and you start fights that way, because if you don't have one of those two things, if no Blitz hook and you're not ahead, how do you ever force anything onto RNG? RNG will get to dictate the game completely.
Yeah, RA, I feel like kind of need to find some presence in the mid-jungle, right? And maybe even play up towards top side, although Blitzcrank not the greatest weak side champion, so I'm not really sure, to be honest, how RA needs to play this one out. Whereas RNG, once again, the plan is simple. It's the same plan as game number 1. It is essentially, once you get to the mid game, you're kind of just going to play death ball. You're kind of just going to group up as 5 and walk at them and protect LP. Get a big Tibbers off, get a big combo off with K'Sante getting in there, with Vi getting in there. LvMao just sits there with the shield and LP presses all of his buttons. Well, he presses 2 buttons.
Yeah. Yeah, so RNG, again, very similar to game one. To hit on what RA would theoretically like, it's right. They should be strong in team fights. They should be strong in skirmishes. We have, Gwen's needlework, Gwen right in the middle of the fray fighting everyone. That's setting up for, like, Viego resets. The big Nico ultimate setting everything up. The feathers all flying back and forth. Like, a ton of AoE damage setup resets for the side of RA. The problem is, how do you get through all the CC and all the front line that RNG have to offer? I think it'll be very hard, and it'll definitely take either some mistakes from RNG or some early game outplays from her Adam.
Yeah, we need to see more from RA. We need to see something a little bit more special. Leyan moving in, spotting away. The hook goes out over the wall from Feather, but won't find anyone to start off with. Nice ward, though, onto the red buff coming out from RA. RNG will return in kind with a ward of their own. See where LvMao's going to place it. Trying to wait as long as he can as well to get that off.
Now for RNG, we already said we know that we expect to see them play a lot around their bot lane, especially when you're up against the Blitz. And like you talked about, Blitz not really a champion you like to leave to his own devices too much. It's about either finding kills in his lane or, moving him out of the lane with the jungler and looking for those opportunities elsewhere. So if Wei can really just kind of show a lot of presence around that bot side, make sure that Feather isn't able to find those hooks or isn't able to roam, you get that bot side vision set up. I feel like it really inhibits a lot of RA's early game strength.
Well, I'm going to say a lot of RA's early game strength is in that mid lane. It's Mole, and he's got his signature Nico. This is the game for RA. I don't care about the comp overall. I don't care about how League of Legends should be played. What I care about is Mole is on his signature. And I'm here with the #1 Mole fan globally to commentate it. We'll see what Mole can do on Nico that is now actually meta.
I always come in and think, I'm not going to hide my bias. Again, when he plays bad, we call it how it is. Game one, he played bad. Feather, that hook was not it. But like Munch hit on in game one, if you missed it, in 2020, Mole played this champion in 4 roles in the LPL. It's kind of having to swap everywhere because of the COVID kind of roster that had to be thrown together. So if there's anyone who should be able to find a lead and make things happen on this champion, it really is him. And, yeah, again, the damage profile from RA is there. They have the ability to set up the resets from the Viego and really pop off. It's, as we're seeing here in the bot lane, it's can they find targets to be able to get onto as this game progresses. They do have push in all 3 lanes, so that will set up Leyan to be as aggressive as he'd like.
I will say, Feather was hitting the hooks in game #1, but that's how much wider hook on the Nautilus than it is on Blitzcrank. So far, Feather just warming up down in that bottom lane. Hopefully those hooks do pick up just a little bit. The thing is, Blitzcrank is one of those champions. Hang on a second. LP gets some good damage down. The hook finally lands, and it's onto LvMao. 1 HP remaining, and first blood taken by Feather. He makes me eat my words.
He lands the hooks when they matter. It was also a little bit on RNG wanting to aggress there. It looks like LvMao was trying to go forward, get the passive procs down, and be able to run them down, but we need to pause. Wei, I think he should be able to find this. Xiaoxu does a flash.
He's got to wait for the cooldown on his Q. Use that Q to get over the wall. Xiaoxu, will he walk up to try and CS? That's the question. There we go. Flash from Breathe. And Xiaoxu on the wrong side. Flash comes out from Wei to follow it as well. Red buff slows there. Leyan arrives on the scene, and maybe they can turn it around. Breathe the target for the time being. Xiaoxu gets back into play. Breathe dives to his teammate, gets a shield. Leyan now the target as the knockup's about to come up through. Leyan has to flash out. Xiaoxu alone, but dashes away from the knockup. And now Wei turned on. Nobody goes down, but what a fight in the top lane.
This was way too tense up here. It was starting to look like we could see the synergy, we could see the tenure that Breathe and Wei have together. But in the end, Xiaoxu having everything stacked up, able to get some meaningful damage down, they're able to get away. But we see here Feather, yeah, not even having to land a hook at first, walking a bit too far forward. It kind of baits them in. It's actually Assum who gets everything started up with those feathers and allows for Feather himself to then be able to get that hook. So nice job by the RA bot lane. Honestly, kudos to the RA top side as well for being able to get out scot-free when you think that Wei was initially the first person up there and they were trying to find that gank onto Xiaoxu, and in the end, didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, it has to be said as well, like, LvMao, what are you thinking there, mate? Like, Unbreakable is currently up, and that's great, but then Unbreakable goes down, and he still goes forward into all the feathers into a Blitzcrank. Like, you ate that tanky once the Unbreakable's gone. So LvMao perhaps a little too aggressive on that Braum, feeling invincible after game number 1. But
you know,
for RA, Drake up on the map.
I know it's my job to say, like, oh, these people shouldn't go in here. They shouldn't play their comp like this. But I'm with what you said in game 1. I much prefer me an LPL that's like this. It's like, yeah, LvMao, go in whenever you see fit, brother. We love it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching it. I'm more just, you know, LvMao, if you want the people on Twitter on your side, which I'm sure he doesn't care about, then, you know, maybe I'm going to move on. Feather, though, great little hook off of Assum's route. And a great little start to the 2v2, especially after game number 1, the bot lane got real weird real quick, right? We saw them having a bit of a hard time. Hook from Feather, but the Unbreakable there. See, that's what it's meant to look like, really. But good Feathers onto LP.
Yeah, that trade, I mean, the trade pretty equal, right? Slightly you'd favor towards RA with the fact that it was Feather eating the damage instead of LP, but much better play by the Braum there. But now with level 6s online, this is where we should start really seeing, honestly, kind of both teams come alive in terms of mid-jungle, right? For Wei and Tangyuan, it's about all the CC they have, and for RA, it's about the ability for Mole to get the lockup, to get the damage on and try and set up for those resets, which we might see very soon.
Mole just trying to get some honey fruit so that he has mana for this fight. Pop Blossom onto 3. What a start with the Unbreakable. Kind of blocks the follow-up here, and the rest of the team take it down. RA, it looked so good to begin with as LP flashes onto Leyan. The jungler chased through his own jungle by the enemy AD carry. The move speed coming out from the fleet footwork. Ghost in play as well. The blast cone, is it enough? No! Shurikens across the wall, and LP showing up.
You hit on it. I feel like LvMao and the Braum really being the hero there, not letting anyone else come in. And now, RA, they pick up a dragon, but a good amount of gold, a good amount of kills going over the side of RNG. We'll see how it all starts here. RA, they get the dragon, you know, some mana being a little bit low. Mole finds the perfect opportunity, gets everyone except LP, but the Braum stops the engage. Really nice tibbers from Tangyuan as well. And sadly, even though Mole's ult got 3 people, the one guy that wasn't picked up is the one who's just able to freely unload all of this damage on the side of the fight. So, yeah, sadly, it looked like a spectacle, but it wasn't what RA needed.
Oh, and Wei has found him in the bottom side. Assum just immediately gets railed. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was brutal.
There might have been a few other ways to say it, but I think the way you said it was pretty apt.
No, I insist.
So, yeah, I mean, just another great game from Wei. I think we saw it in game 1. Again, in my mind, he was who I had for MVP. I don't think it was outrageous that LP got it, but once again, a great game. And in my mind, Wei was probably the most consistent member, like, throughout RNG, you know, like, post kind of championship run. So it's good to see him still keeping it up, and they're using those kills to get more plates onto LP, and Wei might look for another gank once again.
Feather maybe had a hook angle onto LP there, but holding him for the time being. Mole moving over, gets knocked up. Pop Blossom available, will find it onto just one. It means Wei and Mole are in a 1v1 as LvMao just blocks all of the damage. LP moving over, starting to stack up. Feather, Assum, both with the concussive blows there. The turret comes down, and Assum surely can't survive this one. Feather Storm ain't going to be enough, or is it? Pulls it onto LvMao. Unbreakable. Back into the play, but Calibrum dodge. Tibbers is a complete whiff, but it's used, no, just to tank the tower. I'm wrong, he's a genius.
And now RNG pick up 3 more. There's going to be more plates over to LP. This is going to be more CS denied from Assum. Looks like LP won't stick around, but still the golden XP being denied. RNG just had a great read, great play around bot side this time around. And now we come here. Very, I'd say, difficult position RA are in, because you can see where the Viego is on the minimap, but someone needs to cover this RA bot lane, because they were about to get dove. Wei was waiting in the wings. Mole tries to come down and cover. He gets picked off on one side. And despite the fact that RA's bot lane can buy a lot of time with things like the Xayah ult coming through, still, now you have 4 members of RNG to deal with. The Tibber is going to be able to start things off and make sure that the turret gets tanked. And overall, just a really nice play by RA. And sadly, again, Viego on the opposite side of the map. The bot lane needs cover. It's like, what do? Do you completely sacrifice your bot lane? Do you try to cover them with the Nico?
I got the minions. I don't think Tangyuan's buying. The minion just got unleashed teleport. That couldn't have been more unluckily timed. Sorry. Yeah, I'm easily amused. I'm easily amused.
No. You were on point with that. You were. That was great.
Yeah, I have to say, Leyan, the fact that he did Herald as the player started, and then he was like, yeah, I'm going for chickens and red buff. Like, sorry guys, you're on your own down there. Like you say, Mole, kind of having to try and block up some holes across the map. Wei will be able to dash out to safety. There is still a ward on the backside of the pit, which hasn't been cleared, so Feather will get himself out to safety. But when it comes to the Drake that's up in 45 seconds, that ward could be problematic. We've seen how good Breathe has been on flanking.
I mean, at this point, RA can't even think about the next Drake. Especially with Mole trying to cover that last play and all three of them going down, it feels like you've completely all-in on your Gwen, and you now must play around topside like this.
Well, that's how you play around topside.
For this play.
I mean, Xiaoxu doesn't even get an assist. He's just played PvE up there in the top side. They do have a Herald as well, so this is probably just going to be the tower, whereas LP racing on the other side, but he's got, I mean, Purple Gun is not great for trying to take towers. So I don't think he can win the race here. He should be first out.
Once again, Assum going Kraken Slayer first. Which is just, again,
it's possible
surprising.
It's the tech. It might be the tech. I've not run the numbers. Oh, no. Oh, no. LP, you're in all kinds of trouble. Has flash available. Mole is there, and he flashes straight into the loving arms of a needlework. But the CC's there. Wei's on the scene, and somehow LP survives. Now LvMao looking for Feather as well. It'll only be the one, but what a pick.
I mean, RNG really are just firing it on all cylinders. Surprisingly enough, the game looks more dominant than game one, but gold still is pretty close to even. But in terms of just map control and like how you are reading your opponent, RNG are far and away doing a better job.
Yeah, this is kind of beautiful, honestly, from RNG. I mean, I just love the double TP players. Like, you want to farm between towers? I don't think so, buddy. We're past 10 minutes now. And it looked so good to start with, but Feather wide on the hook, and the CC chain is disgusting.
Just goes down. Kind of going back to our last conversation, barring, okay, no fights are going on. Like, the thing I could get for Assum going Kraken Slayer and going it first, it's like, all right, they have a very, like, frontline heavy team. If you kind of look at, like, Kraken versus Stormrazor versus Static Shiv, the kind of three items that Riot intended could be built as first items, it's like, okay, Kraken's all about DPS and long-term hitting people, Stormrazor's more burst, and Static Shiv's wave clear. So, like, that logic I agree with, but it just seems like you're giving up so much, like, potential early power by going this build.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, look, I'm with you guys at home. I'm going to be checking Molecule's Twitter after this to see the numbers on the situation.
Right.
But the logic in my mind is like, okay, I've already, oh, hang on, Mole is being sneaky. Okay, he's not going to get it. The logic is, right, I've lost the early game already. I'm just playing for maximum damage late game, I guess. But I don't know if that really makes sense. Like, can you sacrifice further at this point in the game? He's lethal tempo. I mean, you get an IE, that's a big 2-item spike. But is it bigger than Stormrazor IE? I don't know. Or Stormrazor Gale Force.
We're just to see how it goes. Is looking across the board, I mean, just RNG picking up items left and right. Still no Rocket Belt on Mole. Should be relatively close, so maybe wouldn't even be surprised if he based after this wave. Yep, looks like he's going to go for that one now and should have it. And now having more options to get on that back line. But hell, it's going to be hard to even focus on the back line for RA because like we've seen, for RNG, it's everyone running in. There really is no back line. Even the Aphelios, Gale forcing forward to follow up with the Vi and the Annie.
Yeah, so it's... I think it's a tough one if it comes to a 5v5 for RA at this point, and it might just come to that 5v5 as LP finishes the mid-wave. Oh, it's a hook in onto LvMao. Unbreakable's good though. And now the follow-up, the counter-engage from RNG. Can they find this fight? Herald down to 1,000, it's smited.
Wei gets it.
By Wei. And Breathe actually gets a knockback onto Feather. They won't follow it up. And that's out of 2 games where the Herald isn't picked up unless... Oh, Wei's getting real sneaky with it. Gets the Herald, but at what cost? Leyan there, trying to punish him. Mole moving over to the situation. Pop Blossom only onto 1. Feather gets denied, but Mole gets 1 kill. Now RNG with the follow. LP separated though. He can't do anything. It doesn't seem to matter as it's Breathe doing everything instead. Assum alone and taken down. Moonlight Vigil has only 2 remain for RA.
And you can see once again, RA really not handling these situations well. The Xiaoxu's damage. That's good.
Yeah.
Sadly, though, I feel like their willingness to fight is still just too overzealous. RNG, once again, just like Game 1, win a fight, TPs come through, and they're already punishing RA in terms of more gold and more experience than just having members die. So I really like some of these plays coming out from RNG to really force RA to lose as much as they can possibly lose.
Yeah, so we're taking another look. I can't believe this started with Wei trying to sneak the Herald. Like, how is that how the fight starts?
Like, I'm, again, just surprised that RA, like, again, I get you think the Viego's separated, but it's so easy for the members of RNG to be able to follow up. It's so easy. They out-damage you at this point in time. Your AD carry's separated, so you're not even getting the damage coming out from that regard. And it feels like at this point in time, RA really need to lean heavily on relying on that blitz hook to try and, like, open something up for them to then be able to start a fight.
And taking a big old chunk there. I just want to... I really want to just compliment RNG here on how clean these fights are as well. Because it's not just that they're picking the right fight and they're managing to pull it off. Like, every single fight, almost everyone survives. Every single fight, it feels like it's very much a team win. It's not just someone saving the day. Oh, what was that? That was gorgeous. Unfortunately, it didn't do anything. It was a 4-man knockup with no follow-up for the rest of the team. This is just RA in a nutshell at this point as Feather pulled into the team by Breathe, and another kill goes down. Herald now slammed as LP starts to get onto the tower. He's got Tibbers to tank it up for him. The Herald will finish the job. And RNG, they're making it look easy.
You know, every split you get 3 or 4 of those plays that look super sexy, but ultimately mean absolutely nothing. That one is definitely going to be one for the history books of this split. But sadly, going back to what you were saying earlier, like, I definitely feel like both these games, we've seen a lot of problems with RA. We've seen, like, the inexperience and, like, the lack of time together. We've seen, again, not, like, cohesive ideas of how to play out their composition. But RNG, like, it's not only them punishing RA's mistakes. It's like you're saying, they're kind of punishing them perfectly. They know exactly how to play out. We'll get another replay of this.
I mean,
that was super sick to watch. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it, though. When you're falling this far behind, you're losing every fight.
I have been waiting to see a Nico pretend to be a minion to get a big combo off. We got to see it. It was gorgeous. Let's go, Mole. We called him the Nico specialist. He got the combo off, and it was off the back of being a minion. Like, go, dude.
I will say, much better game from him than game 1.
That's all I'm saying. Because he's a
minion. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh. This is what they need. This is exactly what they need.
He's got the damage. Tangyuan, he's not going to expect this, surely. They've separated. Tangyuan walks in, the Pop Blossom immediately. There's the Tangle Bombs! And a beautiful kill. Mole's on the board.
Yep, Feather and Mole. So now realizing, hey, we can't fight them. All we could do, cheeky brush plays. The epitome of, like, high-tier League of Legends. And you know what? They've gotten one. They're surprisingly still only 3K gold behind, which I think you'd expect to be a lot more when you see a 4-13 like kill score.
Yeah.
But sadly, I feel like even going further than like their gold problems or like how they play their comp. I'll pause.
Breathe should be in trouble here with Leyan moving over the needlework. Just wide from Xiaoxu. Another one's there, and Feather's arrived on the scene as well. Breathe is going down. There's no 2 ways about it. Leyan arrives at the last second and steals the kill. Come back Tien.
Oh!
Tien. It's Assum. Oh, no. Oh, LvMao! Okay, he gets out with his life. That looked real dicey for a second there. And they will walk away.
You know, it was perfect, though. It was perfect, though, because it baited Assum into thinking, like, oh, maybe this turret will kill this Braum. I need to, like, keep autoing and help it out. Give that opportunity for LP to actually take him down. He did not have flash at that time, so at least next time an aggressive play comes out, he hopefully will be able to escape. But who knows how much longer this game goes if RNG are going to pick up this Baron.
I mean, 20 minutes on the dot Baron here. There's Leyan in the area. Okay. It's a pixel brush play. That kind of plays into the hands of an eco. As fair, the target is they all just charge on him. Bomb Blossom is here. It's only onto one though, and the Unbreakable keeps him alive. Mole the next target to be eradicated off the face of the rift. Leyan gets a little bit of damage down, but it's him, Assum, and Xiaoxu in a 3v5.
They at least managed to stop the Baron, which I feel like is what you need to do at the end of the day, right? You're hoping for more volatility. The longer this game goes on, the better odds you have as RA of just some shenanigans leading to one team fight win.
LvMao very bold there, but actually will survive
it,
or will he? The needlework! It's a double to Xiaoxu, and a little overzealous. Wait, LP got a kill there as well, somehow. Leyan actually went down to the tower. Assum, what is going on, Lyrics? Save me.
I still want to know how we don't have higher than a 4K gold lead when we have like 7 to 18 kills. This is complete madness. This is completely awesome.
Look at the AD carry score as well for Assum. Like, how are they staying in touching distance of gold with a 0-680 carry that's down in CS?
You know, you would actually think he'd be down more when he's 0-6
yeah, right.
up against the 7-1 Aphelios. My God. And Xiaoxu, we have seen their hope. Their hope is Xiaoxu. That needlework was huge. If you can get that through multiple members of RNG, once, you know, maybe like LvMao's shield goes down, he is forced out. Could be a way in.
Was going to get caught then for Wei. I'm not sure that's a fight that Wei gets out of, but it looked like he wanted it anyway. It's Tangyuan in the area as well if Xiaoxu tries to go too aggressive. But I'm going to be honest, I maybe even favor the Gwen at this point in that 2v1. Surely not. Surely they would win the 2v1 as Wei dashes out to safety.
Ooh.
Drake coming up in 35 seconds as LvMao. He felt the breeze from that one.
Yeah, he did. RNG, just like game one, though, doing a great job of controlling vision, right? Completely clearing out RA's wards, having their own line down, getting wards towards top side, like just River completely lit up for the side of RNG. Wave even pushed in bot side, so they know no one's going to enter through that area, and now able to go and look to aggress and maybe find picks of their own.
Sneaking on forward, secret agent mission for Breathe, but they will just back away, maintaining that vision control, making sure nobody can come close. There's Assum with the Navori, with that Kraken. Perhaps this is the 2-item spike we've all been looking for. Needs to wait for LvMao to use that shield though before he can pull the trigger on all those feathers. But Wei, in the meantime, will grab himself this Drake. And that'll be 3 now for RNG. Another advantage on their side. As I just want to mention as well, LP, 2-0 now. Absolutely immaculate scores. Like 7-1 and 6 at this point. He's gone Gale Force into Collector as well, which Collector apparently better value for your money at this point in the game. Like they improved it. So we already saw Aphelios as going Collector back before when it wasn't actually that good to go for. So I expect to see that a lot on Aphelios.
Yeah, and this is just one of those items that didn't have big confusing changes, right? Just got a flat 6 more lethality given. Going to be a nice change. And especially when you start snowballing this hard, they really don't have any like super beefy front line either. LP, I mean, he just shreds anyone on RA's way. Has a great flank angle.
Yeah, he's getting funky with it. RA surely have no idea this is going on.
Oh, wait.
But they're going to check. Xiaoxu just wants Bloomer. He's not even looking for the flank.
This could actually really backfire if 3 members of RA just jump into that brush.
But they will get away with it. LvMao trying to buy space. And once again, all about these wards. The Drake was taken, so now they're fighting for vision on the top side. And it feels like that is fundamentally the game plan.
I feel like this is like the longest amount of time we've gone without a kill happening.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's only been like 2 minutes.
I feel like I'm watching the EDG series from yesterday. where just nothing ever happened. It was a lot of posturing and nothing ever happened from it. Breathe, though.
Breathe.
He ain't EDG. He's going in. And look at this fight from RNG. Pop Blossom on the backside ain't going to be enough as Breathe walks away with his life. And LP wants a little bit more. Mole and Leyan both tagged up. Can they finish the job, though? The knockback from Breathe is gorgeous. And they wipe RA off of the map. That's going to be game.
How don't they even lose a single member? What a beautiful debut for the new rebuilt RNG.
And this is the thing, we were talking about the coordination from RA, understandable, because it's a new roster. There are more roster changes for RNG. They've had the same amount of time to prep. How do they look this good on day one? I don't know, but 23-7, what a win, what a dominant 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I think both games looking incredibly on point. Seriously, it had just phenomenal series. Breathe as well. Bit of a show-off in game one, you know, running them around a map. And in game two, not as, I'd say, heavy-handed in terms of flashiness, but that last engage is, I mean, it sealed the deal for RNG, right? And, I mean, across the board, you can pretty much give praise to everyone. All three of Tangyuan, LP, and LvMao, I think, delivering above expectations. Because, again, even if RA, I think, like, RA looked like a new team. RA looked like a team that just literally played on the Rift as a 5 for the first time, right? Like, it wasn't cohesive. A lot of individual mistakes, a lot of, again,